What's up, you guys? Today is a bit of a different video. I wanted to start talking about movement in Tarkov, and especially in Tarkov Arena, and why it's so valuable, even in a competitive sense, just to give yourself an advantage. Now, before I get into the video here, this is my most viewed video, 32,000 views. Thank you guys a lot for the views. But only 0.1% of you are subscribed to my channel. So I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could just hit that subscribe button, hit a like on the video if you find it useful. It really just helps me out a lot. All right, so we're going to start off with Equator here. You know, you have the basic standard jump. You don't really go very high. You also have a, sprint jump, which carries your momentum quite a bit. These are just very basic things. But if you sprint jump, let go of all your keys, and then you press the direction you want to go. So A, for example, and then I press jump, you can jump to the side. So if you do that in quick succession, looks like this, and you're able to easily kind of change your momentum. So a nice little peek. It's very risky, so it's a very niche scenario. Let's say somebody's camping back in the spawn here on Equator, and you want to try to peek that. I mean, you could easily just kind of jump up here and try to grab the kill pretty easily. Or if you want, you can be fancy and try to side jump. This allows you to ready your weapon a little bit faster, and will make it to where you might be able to grab that kill a little bit faster, and they can't see you as much as if you were to just slowly jump up and then get your weapon ready. Another thing that's very frustrating in this game is that, and you just have to practice over time. Even I'm still needing to practice and do this stuff more often, because it is actually very useful. But if you don't move and you're completely stuck on like a wall or something, you see how my character stops? I'm still pressing W right now. So if I'm sprinting into the wall, I'll just come to a complete stop, even though I'm still pressing W. Now, if I'm moving back and forth, I'm not stopping at all, even though I'm moving forward. The reason I bring that up is because if you're going to jump into a barricade like this, these sandbags, and you do not time your jump well enough, you will get stuck on the wall, or it might just kind of stop you completely. So you can easily just do a walking jump up these barriers if you want to, just to be safe. If you want to hold vault to get onto this top spot, you can. Just so that way you can have an easier time getting up and you're a little more accurate while doing it. It does help a little bit if you look down and jump up, and then you can kind of move your way up. You can kind of see how I wiggled back and forth to get up this last part, and I feel like that's a pretty efficient way. So basically from that wall, you're able to peek this angle pretty easily. People can't really see you very easily either. So it's a very niche angle, and it does open up certain instances. So again, just being able to, even if you want to run to the right there, it's probably easier to keep your momentum and run along this side than reposition yourself as you peek out. Now, I think they patched it at least at last hero. I don't know if they purposefully put it into Teamfight, but at least in Teamfight, you can still get up here. Originally, when Arena first came out, you were able to get on this bus as well as these upper platforms here. They removed the stairs leading up to it, but you're still able to get on this bus and those platforms in Teamfight. And that's why this gives you a huge advantage. So maybe they might patch it, maybe they might leave it in, who knows. From the KFC spawn, you can go over here. There are these little kind of shelves or carts you can get on top of. And these carts allow you to see pretty much the entire lane. You're not going to go peek this on the shelves there. You could run over this way, and you can actually get up on top of this car very easily and peek these entire angles. Obviously, you're left very exposed. You're able to jump on top of this wall as well. You can't get on top of these boxes or anywhere else, but you are able to easily take ground on this side. The opposite side has a somewhat similar advantage if you're able to get up on top of like the roof of this car, and you're able to pop a few shots at people that potentially might be camping in the spawn. Otherwise, you might have to climb on top of this box, which just takes a little too long and might leave you overexposed as you're jumping up on top. Another option from the same KFC spawn is you can run up over this way. You can get on top of this table. It's very easy peek, and you're able to peek out and try to grab a few kills for people trying to push mid. Another way to get on top of this kind of wall here, this wooden area, is to just simply hold vault, and you can just get on top of these boxes pretty easily. Now, the only advantage to this is if somebody was in bus and you wanted to peek somebody in like this left part of the bus. Otherwise, there's not really a huge point to do that in the first place. Obviously, you have the spawn. I think these spawns are designed very well. So that way, if anybody is pushing the spawn, you can have easy access to different peaks from people coming in. You're able to easily, I think, get on this back part here too. So that way, if anybody's kind of entering in through either side, you're able to easily kind of kill them. If you just simply get on this little barrel here, you should actually be able to see somebody that's peeking from that wall there and easily take them out. Not a super viable option, but if you do get on this barrel and you lightly and quickly jump and then press W and D, so you move up and to the right, and you just kind of press all of them at the same time, so you jump, WD at the same time, and then you don't move, you can kind of get stuck on that. You have to let go of the keys, so that way your feet get stuck on the platform. And you are able to see quite a bit of mid from here, actually. So it's not a horrible spot to try to get up onto, especially if you can get a quick peek early game. If you're coming from the spawn and you're starting out, and you just want to see if somebody's kind of peeking any of those walls, you can kind of get on these sandbags and you can kind of jump over this wall just to see a little bit easier to see if anybody is really pushing mid here. Kind of lets you know if you're able to do any kind of mid plays here or push this angle a little bit harder. This bear is actually not too bad to get on top of, so that way you can see a little bit into their spawn. It's not super viable. If you have a scope, you might be able to see some of them spawn camping. Sometimes these bushes you have to be kind of careful of, because bushes like these, you cannot jump inside of. So you're going to have to make sure, and they also slow you down a lot. So you really have to be careful if you're moving around here that you don't get in the green bushes. But depending on where the enemy is, if you know where they are, you're able to use these ledges to your advantage and maybe do a few different types of peaks by kind of jumping on these ledges and playing up a little bit more. When it comes down to the spawn, that where when you head to the right, you go to construction here. Construction, you're able to get just on top of this wall, just do a simple vault, just to, towards the edge, and you're able to see pretty far back into the entire alley here. If you're afraid of somebody peeking you potentially and watching for this angle, you can mount on this deeper part of the wall, and you can kind of peek into it if you want to. Now you are able to also take advantage of this wall here, you know, a really easy peek from people pushing this kind of wooden wall. You can kind of get on top of this angle here, but it takes a pretty long time. People might push it very fast, so you have to be very careful, but it does give you a little advantage, but you are left extremely exposed from a lot of different angles. It is nice if you know that somebody's on the other side of this escalator where the team is pushing this back part, and you are able to see into the other lane pretty easily, as well as mid. Now if we push through here, we have a couch over on this side. So instead of running through and potentially getting hit by somebody that's watching this angle right here, you can get on top of this couch and you should be able to counter peek them, kill them pretty easily. On the construction side over here, you can also go up to the sandbag. You can jump, just a simple walking jump, and you can pretty much see the entire lane there, which is nice. What I just did here, actually, I think you might be able to pull this off realistically in a game. However, you're going to have to deal with the enemy team pushing through their spawn there. But it gives you a massive advantage if they're not pushing through mid, and they're mostly going through construction on the side. If you line yourself up here with the ramp, and you're kind of diagonally trying to aim for this top corner here on the wall, you jump up, and then once you're up on top, you have to completely stop and stand still, so that way you're not moving at all. It's very difficult. And then you have to do a sprint jump from not moving. So basically a sprint jump is when you sprint for a split second, and then you jump forward like that. You run up, jump on top, take a step back, and you're able to get on that wall pretty easily as long as you sprint jump, but that sprint jumping is pretty tough to do on that small area. So it's a very tricky jump, but I mean, if you're able to get up here, you can take massive advantage of the enemy team I pretty much just covered most of the jump spots and a bunch of different angles you could potentially take. On just Equator specifically, I plan to just kind of go down the list and do every map, especially Bay 5. Bay 5 is very intricate and it's a lot of fun just because there's so many spots you can move around at. Obviously, a few of these spots change depending on what game mode that you're playing, so you just have to kind of keep an eye out of where you're able to get to and for spots that correlate with these videos. So make sure you stay posted on my next upcoming videos, so that way you can have a big advantage when you play your next few matches. Have a good one.